Hello! My name is Joshua James Jenkins, otherwise known as Triple J. And this is my solo review of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view from, of course, earlier this year being 2021. Whew. Now we've got a lot to get into here. Now, of course, this was originally scheduled to happen on episode 10 of the Rasslin and Logic podcast. However, because of the issue that YouTube had at processing it, well, obviously now that was never going to happen. So instead, I decided to do it this way instead. Hopefully this will work this time around. Because, you know, I don't really want to try and do this again for the third time. Although, you know, they do say third time's the charm, so, you know, if that does indeed happen, then we'll find out as time goes on. Anyhow, yeah. So yeah, even though this was originally going to be on episode 10, this is now transformed or transferred over to being an extra episode of the Rasslin and Logic podcast with just me. Rassucker isn't joining me here to cover this review here. It's just me at this time doing this for right now. Yes. And we'll see how this goes. Don't expect much from me here. Anyway, so yeah, episode 10 is now instead is going to be redone this upcoming Friday, being March the 12th. We will be covering, me, Rassucker, and Chabonator will be covering our review of the AEW Revolution pay-per-view that happened just a few days ago. Yeah, well, we'll get into that later this week. Yeah, that's going to be something to look forward to. Anyway, now let's get into why I am here right now, being, of course, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view being presented by World Wrestling Entertainment. Even though they're not even that entertaining, and they don't really show off much of the wrestling. But yeah, this is the pay-per-view that I am reviewing, so I think it's time that I get into the actual portion of the review now. Okay, so we open off with the opening video package for the pay-per-view itself, welcoming us to the pay-per-view. Introducing us to the pay-per-view, of course, getting us acclimated with what is to come, getting us acclimated with the feel of the event that is the Elimination Chamber itself, getting us, well, it's attempting to get us to be excited to be watching this pay-per-view that is unfolding in front of our eyes here. You know, that is the entire point of the opening video package, really, is to entice us to continue watching. And yes, we will be continue watching it because well, I'm reviewing the entire pay-per-view from start to finish, so obviously I will be continue watching it. So yeah. Alright, and then we move on to the opening match of the pay-per-view, which is of course the Elimination Chamber, which this pay-per-view is named after, because that is mainly what this pay-per-view event is basically based off. It's based off a match concept. Yes. So, getting into that now, we had the Elimination Chamber, which was the #1 contenders match for the Universal Championship, happening, of course, inside of the Elimination Chamber. There were 6 participants in this, being Baron Corbin, Cesaro, Jey Uso, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. Now, the winner here would go on to cash in their championship shot for the Universal Championship against the Universal Champion Roman Reigns immediately after the conclusion of this match. So whoever wins this match is immediately going into another match against a fresh, ready to compete Roman Reigns. Yeah, that is basically what is going to happen here. Anyway, the ring announcer for this match is Greg Hamilton, and the commentary announcers are Corey Graves and Michael Cole. Now, Kevin Owens makes his entrance down into the chamber pod first, followed by Sami Zayn, who makes his entrance into the chamber pod second, and then the referee she ejects Sami Zayn's personal camera crew who were surrounding the chamber. They now get ejected from ringside, therefore having them no longer be there, which leaves Sami Zayn in frustration, including myself, because I don't see how they are going to be a factor into this match at all. I mean, they are on the outside. Wink. Anyway, yeah, so they are now not there, which adds on to the controversy that Sami Zayn seems to be involved in at every turn here. Okay, and then so yeah, we'll see how that ends up being. And then we have Baron Corbin, who makes his entrance down into the chamber pod third, followed by Jey Uso, who makes his entrance into the chamber pod fourth. And then all of a sudden we then get shown the video package highlighting the build-up of this match. They're not done making their entrances, and we are already being shown the video package for this match basically halfway through the entrances. What is this? The timing here is absolutely terrible. If there was, look, if there was ever a time to present this video package, would be before the first entrance even got made. You do the video package for the match, you do the entrances, then you do the match. That is the correct order of how it should have flowed in. But no, they do 4 entrances, the video package, followed by the 2 other entrances to come after the video package has concluded to air. Oh, this is ridiculous. Anyway, after this video package, highlighting the build-up of this match, finishes being played, we then get Cesaro, who makes his entrance down into the chamber, 5th, and then finally the last entrance and the last participant to enter this match is Daniel Bryan, who makes his entrance into the chamber, 6th. And now as for the actual match itself, well, it goes as follows. Cesaro and Daniel Bryan begin the match in the ring as number 1 and number 2. Daniel now slams Cesaro down with a hurricanrana off the top turnbuckle across the ring canvas. Daniel now charges forward out of the corner, and Cesaro strikes him down with a clothesline into the pin for a 2 count kick out. Yes. Baron Corbin now is the first one released from the chamber pod. Baron now slams Cesaro down with the deep 6 signature maneuver across the canvas. He then delivers the deep 6 signature maneuver onto Daniel Bryan into the pin for a 2 count kick out. Baron now slams Daniel Bryan's left knee onto Sami's pod. Then he does the exact same with Daniel Bryan's left knee being slammed against Jey Uso's chamber pod. Now this now means Daniel Bryan's left knee is now hurt and is now vulnerable to be targeted, which is quite the open opportunity for somebody to capitalize on later on. For example, somebody like Cesaro, who has a sharpshooter as one of his submission holds, he could work the leg on Daniel, do enough damage, lock him in the submission, and that'll be that. But is that what's going to happen? We'll find out soon. Sami Zayn is now the second one released from the chamber pod. Baron now slams Daniel Bryan with a suplex off the top turnbuckle down across the ring canvas. Sami is now seen striking Cesaro down with a DDT on the chamber padding area. Sami now covers the pin on Cesaro in the ring for a 2 count kick out. Cesaro now strikes Sami off the chamber wall with a stomp that is sending Sami crashing down across the chamber padding, and then Cesaro with his strength, he now does 2 consecutive pull-ups on the chamber roof. That was quite something. Baron now slams Daniel Bryan down with a chokeslam across the ring canvas. Now here, I thought he was going to hit the chokeslam into the backbreaker that he usually does, but no, he pulled out an actual chokeslam in full across the ring canvas. Did he go for the pin? No. Cesaro now leaps off the middle rope with a diving uppercut. onto Baron, followed by swinging Baron around in a few circles. Then he locks Baron in the sharpshooter submission for the tap out and the elimination. Now this surprised me very much here, because Baron tapped out basically immediately. This wasn't like somebody like Daniel Bryan, who already had his left knee in a compromising position. No, this was Baron Corbin, whose legs were basically near 100% health level in this match, right? So whatever. I would have been a lot more open to this elimination if Baron Corbin, was showed himself to struggle to escape the hold for, I don't know, at least 10 to 15 seconds before finally succumbing to the tap out. But no, he tapped out in like 3 seconds after being locked into the sharpshooter. And I'm supposed to take him as a serious threat in this match? How does that work? But that does now make me look at Cesaro as an even more threat than he was going into this match, considering he tapped out Baron Corbin in like 3 seconds. So if he can make Baron tap out in like 3 seconds, then how long is it going to take him to tap out somebody else with that same submission? We'll find out. Daniel Bryan, I'm looking at you on your left knee here, because something is bound to happen here, right? Because you've set that up, you've basically started the work process for that, right? Something is gonna happen here. And then we have Kevin Owens, who is the third one released from the Chamber pod. And then we see Sami Zayn, who is now attempting and is pleading with Kevin Owens to team up with him. But Kevin Owens decides instead to throw and slam Sami across the Chamber pod. Yeah. Kevin now strikes Sami down with a super kick across the ring canvas. Kevin now charges forward and connects the cannonball onto Cesaro. Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn was individually against the bottom turnbuckles of each corner of the ring that they were positioned at. Sami now slams Kevin down with a half Nelson suplex, or as the other wording for it is a half and half suplex. He slams Kevin down with the half Nelson suplex, or the half and half suplex, whichever wording you want to go by, straight across the ring canvas. Cesaro now drops Sami down with a lifting uppercut across the ring canvas. Daniel Bryan now charges forward and strikes Cesaro down with his running knee finishing maneuver across the ring canvas. Kevin now slams Daniel Bryan down with the pop-up powerbomb finishing maneuver across the ring canvas. So now all four of them are down across the ring canvas. We now see Jey Uso, who is the fourth and final participant in this match to be released from the Chamber pod. Kevin now immediately starts to brawl with Jey Uso, as he would do, because Jey Uso, going into this match, is a prime target that Kevin Owens is wanting to personally eliminate from this match. Yes. Kevin now leaps off the top of the pod with a diving moonsault down onto everybody across the chamber padding area. I did not see that coming, but he performed it very well, and they all sold it quite decently. Up next we then saw Kevin, who knocked Daniel Bryan and Cesaro down with his stunner finishing maneuver across the chamber padding. Kevin then knocked Sami down with the stunner finishing maneuver into the pin for the 3 count and the second elimination of this match. But before Kevin hit Sami with the stunner, something very, very bizarre happened, and it caught my attention. Sami basically ran his boot right straight at Kevin Owens' face. Basically skimmed past it. Basically, I don't know, half a centimeter across his face, right? And everybody was acting like, oh, Sami missed him. Are you kidding me? Kevin should have sold that as if he did get hit, because it looked to me like he basically did. Jesus, that was not a good set. Look, either Kevin should have ducked or Kevin should have stepped back. He just stood there, basically like got grazed by the boot, right? Like, oh Jesus, that was a bad sell. That took me out of the immersion. Jesus. If you're going to do something, do it right. Especially in the way you're going to perform a move. Especially in the way you're going to execute the way that the move is performed and sold. So if Kevin was supposed to not be hit by that boot that Sami Zayn was basically driving towards his face, then Kevin should have either stepped back or he should have, ducked down to avoid contact. But that didn't happen. Anyway, Sami Zayn is now eliminated. So we are left with Jey Uso, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens. Jey Uso now slams the chamber door onto Kevin's right arm, then connects 4 consecutive kneeling superkicks onto Kevin in the process. Jey now releases the door off of Kevin's right arm, and then connects another superkick onto Kevin across the ring canvas. Jey now leaps off the top turnbuckle with the diving splash finishing maneuver onto Kevin into the pin for the 3 count and the 3rd elimination of this match. Well, that's what you get, Kevin, for not selling, or more accurately, for not avoiding Sami Zayn's running big boot as you should have done. Jesus. Anyway, Jey now charges forward and Sami catches him mid-air with the uppercut against the top rope across the ring canvas. Cesaro now leaped off the top turnbuckle with a diving elbow drop onto Jey Uso into the pin for the 2 count kick out. Daniel Bryan now rolls Cesaro in the backslide pin for a 2 count kick out. Daniel Bryan now strikes Cesaro with the kneeling roundhouse kick, which I think is now his. I think that kneeling roundhouse kick is one of Daniel Bryan's signature moves. I think. Anyway, he hits that onto Cesaro, into the pin now, for a 2 count kick out. Cesaro now slams Daniel Bryan off the top turnbuckle with a gutbuster across the ring canvas. Cesaro now grabs Daniel Bryan's left knee, swings him around, then as he's just about to turn him around for the sharpshooter, Jey Uso all of a sudden strikes Cesaro down with a super kick. Then Jey climbs up and leaps off the top turnbuckle with the diving splash finishing maneuver onto Cesaro into the pin for the 3 count and the 4th elimination of this match. So that means the final 2 are Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso. Okay, now Jey Uso leaped off the top turnbuckle with the diving splash finishing maneuver onto Daniel Bryan into the pin for a near fall kick out. Jey now climbs up and leaps off the top of the chamber pod with the diving splash finishing maneuver, in which Daniel Bryan counters by lifting up his knees onto Jey's stomach, and then Daniel Bryan now charges forward, striking Jey Uso down with the running knee finishing maneuver into the pin for the 3 count and the win, winning the Elimination Chamber, which now means not only is Daniel Bryan the number 1 contender for the Universal Championship, but in a few seconds from now, Roman Reigns is about to come down to, give Daniel Bryan his Universal Championship match, in which he's just won the right to immediately challenge for. But before we get into that, I'm going to now present my match rating here, which is a 5 out of 10. I'm not going any higher, I'm not going any lower, I'm going to go right in the middle, because that is where this match belongs, at a 5 out of 10. Okay, as expected, Daniel Bryan is already in the ring. And then we get match number 2, which is Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship. Now remember here, Daniel Bryan's left knee is hurt, damaged, and basically easy work for Roman Reigns to get through here in this match. Now let's see how that goes, yeah? So, the ring announcer for this match is Greg Hamilton, and the commentary announcers are Corey Graves and Michael Cole. Roman Reigns now, accompanied by Paul Heyman, makes his entrance down into the ring, and the bell rings and this match is underway. Roman now charges forward for the spear, but then Daniel Bryan immediately catches him and counters by applying the crossface submission hold. What the fuck was this? This caught me off guard. And Roman then manages to strike his way out for the escape. Roman now slams Daniel Bryan down with a powerbomb across the ring canvas. Roman then locks in Daniel Bryan in the guillotine submission finishing maneuver for the pass out and the win, which now means Roman Reigns retains the Universal Championship. That is what that means. And do you know what else that means? the work that Baron Corbin did to put damage onto Daniel Bryan's left knee was basically all for nothing, because nobody ever really capitalized on that. So basically all the work that Baron Corbin put in to basically have open season on Daniel Bryan's left knee was basically all for nothing. Anyway, my match rating for this match here between Bryan and Roman is a 7 out of 10. Even though I could quite easily fucking drop it down by a lot. Jesus Christ. But no, I'm going to keep it at a 7. Right, and then we go on to the next segment here, in which we get shown a commercial for WWEshop.com. So if you want to buy some merchandise, go on there and do it. That's basically what you're being told to do here. And then we get another segment in which we now enter the land of the Looney Tunes, because we now get shown Bad Bunny, who is the 24/7 champion, slapping The Miz, who is the Money in the Bank holder. We'll get into that later. Fucking hell. Okay, so Bad Bunny and The Miz are now backstage interacting with each other. Then The Miz, who was about to attack Bad Bunny because Bad Bunny slapped him across the face, turns around to see Damian Priest standing there, and then The Miz decides to just walk off. This is a segment that happened that wasted time on this pay-per-view that could have gone to anything else. I mean, the time spent here for this segment could have been added on to Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan quite easily. But no, that is what we got, and I didn't get the point of this segment. Look, is this seriously going to set up to a match at some point down the line, possibly at WrestleMania, between, I don't know, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison in a tag team match? Is that what this is setting up? Because if so, what a waste of time, and what a waste of a match to put on WrestleMania, which is supposed to be the most important and biggest showcase of wrestling of the entire calendar year. It's supposed to be where those who have earned the right to be on WrestleMania, right, get the showcase that they have been working towards all year, basically. And you're telling me a tag match between Bad Bunny, Damian Priest, The Miz and John Morrison is worthy of being on fucking WrestleMania? So if that is legitimately where this is heading to, oh, what a waste of time. And it makes it a lot worse off in that case then with what happens later on with The Miz. Anyway, we'll then move on to the next match here, being a triple threat match between John Morrison, Matt Riddle and Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. The ring announcer for this match is Greg Hamilton, and the commentary announcers are Tom Phillips, Baron Saxton and Samoa Joe. Matt Riddle makes his entrance down into the ring. John Morrison then makes his entrance down into the ring. We then get shown a quick recap video of John Morrison winning the Fatal 4-Way match on the pre-show to qualify into this championship match right here, right now. Yes, so so they had a Fatal 4-Way match on the pre-show, in which the winner would be interjected into this triple threat match for the United States Championship that is happening right here, right now. In which John Morrison was the winner of that match. I didn't see it because I didn't watch the pre-show, but yeah, he won it. Well done. Whatever. And then, of course, lastly, we get Bobby Lashley, accompanied by MVP, making his entrance down into the ring. Now, this match goes as follows. The match starts with Bobby Lashley immediately going onto the offense against Matt Riddle in the corner, striking down forearms, punches and kicks in the corner to Matt Riddle. And then we have Morrison, who leaps off the middle rope and strikes Bobby with a springboard enziguri, but Bobby continues to stand there. Bobby now throws Morrison on the ring apron, then knocks him off with a running splash that sends Morrison crashing down against the barricade on the outside floor. Bobby now slams Morrison against the ring post by tossing him forward with a running torture rack. Bobby now slams Matt Riddle down with a back body drop across the outside floor. Bobby now lifts Morrison up and slams John Morrison down with a single-handed spine buster across the ring canvas. Bobby now slams Matt Riddle down with the Yokosuka cutter across the ring canvas. Bobby now charges forward and Riddle drops Bobby down with a Bobby? Yeah, so Riddle now drops Bobby down with a hurricane over the top rope to the outside floor. Morrison now follows it up by leaping over the top rope with a diving corkscrew crossbody onto Bobby across the outside floor. Matt Riddle now leaps off the middle rope with a diving Matt Riddle now leaps off the middle rope with a diving corkscrew cannonball onto Bobby across the outside floor. Morrison now shoves Riddle against the ring post, rolls him into the ring and covers the pin for a near fall kickout. Matt Riddle now strikes Morrison down with the Pele kick. Riddle now strikes Morrison twice against the corner with a running forearm strike. Riddle now slams Morrison down with a capture suplex across the ring canvas, and then that's followed up by Riddle charging forward with a penalty kick, but Morrison ducks out of the way. Riddle then goes for the standing moonsault, but lands on his feet because Morrison rolled out of the way. Then Riddle charges forward and connects the running back senton onto Morrison, followed by finally connecting the penalty kick he was looking for earlier, and then that is followed up with Riddle slamming Morrison down with a German suplex in to the pin for a 2 count kickout. Morrison now connects the Starship Pain finishing maneuver onto Bobby into the pin for a 2 count kickout. Riddle now smashes the crutch against Bobby Lashley's back, and Bobby goes through the middle rope to the outside floor. Now Riddle, earlier Morrison took the crutch from MVP on the outside, which then led to now Riddle holding the crutch, smashing it against the back of Bobby, and then Bobby goes flying through the middle rope to the outside floor. And now we have Matt Riddle, who now slams Morrison down with his Bro Derek finishing maneuver into the pin for the 3 count and the win, which now means Matt Riddle is now the new United States champion. I'm going to give this match rating a 4 out of 10. Yes. Matt Riddle being the new United States champion. This is something that happened. Now, I would have much preferred it to have been on John Morrison, because I feel like that would have been the more better choice. But it is what it is, because that is what happened here. So yeah. We now have the next segment here, in which we get shown a commercial for the WWE Supercard mobile game. So if you're interested in that game, then this will be an interesting commercial for you. It doesn't interest me in the slightest, so that doesn't appeal to me personally. Anyway, we then move on to the next match here, being the tag match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship between Sasha Banks, who is the SmackDown Women's Champion, and Bianca Belair, who is the Royal Rumble winner, going up against the champions here, of course, being Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. The ring announcer for this match is Greg Hamilton. The commentary announcers are Corey Graves and Michael Cole. As for the actual entrances, well, first off we get Shayna Baszler being one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, making her entrance down on to the stage. Oh, sorry. Yes, so Shayna makes half her entrance onto the stage. She is then joined on the stage by Nia Jax, who is the other half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. And then together, Nia and Shayna, they then both enter the ring together. We now get shown a recap video of we now get shown a recap video of Reginald Sommelier pinning Nia Jax on the previous episode of SmackDown. Why the fuck did that happen? Like, that shouldn't be happening at all. That is absolute bullshit booking. Why, just why? I will never know. Anyway, we then get shown Kayla Braxton interviewing both Bianca and Sasha in the gorilla position backstage. All of a sudden, Reginald Sommelier appears and says something about champagne, and then Bianca then walks out through the curtain, in which then Bianca Belair makes her entrance down onto the stage, in which she is then joined by Sasha Banks onto the stage, and then they both, being Sasha and Bianca, make their entrance down into the ring together. Now, before I get into what happened here in the match itself, I just want to point out something that is very baffling here to me, and something that just isn't right. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax have now been a tag team now for a few months, and they are still coming out separately. They are still coming out half and half. They are still acting as though they are two singles competitors, being paired up together in a tag team role. They are legitimately at this time the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, and they don't have a tag team theme song, a tag team entrance, a tag team moveset. They don't even act like a freaking tag team, yet they are the Women's Tag Team Champions. Absolutely ridiculous. No wonder the fucking tag team division is dead. One, they don't really have any fucking tag teams to begin with to make this work, and secondly, the tag team champions that they do have are basically acting out like two singles competitors, in which in reality they are acting out in a tag team role that they don't even want to be in. Ridiculous. And then as for Sasha and Bianca, they're just teaming up here to be in this championship match because they need something to fill up the build up towards their eventual one-on-one match at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So they're using this as the background story to build up their eventual match. Ridiculous booking, absolutely fucking bullshit. Anyway, as for the actual in-ring match portion of this match itself, well, the match starts off with Bianca and Nia Jax engaging in a collar and an elbow lockup. Of course they are. Bianca now leaps off the middle turnbuckle with a backflip, then strikes a dropkick onto Nia. Then Bianca does a kip up and legally tags in Sasha, as Sasha was holding the tag rope. Let's see how this fucking match goes with the fucking rules, eh? Wish them luck, eh? Sasha now leaps off the middle rope with a springboard bulldog onto Nia, which was botched. But of course it was. Then Sasha legally tags in Bianca, as Bianca was holding the tag rope. Hopefully that stays happening. Both Sasha and Bianca now connect a dueling dropkick onto Nia. That sends Nia against the corner, and Shayna now legally tags herself in, as she was holding the tag rope. Bianca now charges forward and drops Shayna immediately down with a dropkick across the canvas. Bianca now does another kip up. Bianca now makes a legal tag to Sasha, as Sasha was holding the tag rope. Sasha now drops Shayna down with the running mcintyre into the pin for a 2 count kick out. Shayna now drops Sasha against the top rope. Then Shayna makes the tag to Nia Jax. However, I don't know if this was legally done or not, as the camera angle was out of frame. It didn't seem though as Nia was holding the tag rope anyway, but I don't know. So this is where this gets a bit interesting. Anyway, Nia now charges forward and smashes a standing body splash onto Sasha against the ring apron. Nia now rolls Sasha back into the ring and proceeds to potentially make the legal tag to Shayna, as Shayna was holding the tag rope. Shayna now targets Sasha's left arm. Now, is this going to factor into the finish of this match? Because it didn't factor into anything when in the Elimination Chamber earlier, in terms of Daniel Bryan's left knee. So we'll find out as this match goes on. Sasha now rolls Shayna up in the victory roll into the pin for a 2 count kick out. Shayna now drops Sasha down with a clothesline into the pin for a 2 count kick out. Shayna now drags Sasha to the corner, and Nia potentially legally tags herself in, as she was holding the tag rope. Nia now slams Sasha down with a body slam into the pin for a 2 count kick out. Nia now charges forward with a spear, but Sasha rolls out of the way, and Nia now lands through the middle turnbuckle into the ring post. Shayna now potentially legally tags herself in, as she was holding the tag rope. Sasha now rolls Shayna up in the O'Connor roll pin for a 1 count kick out. Shayna now leaps off the middle turnbuckle with absolutely nothing, because it wasn't Shayna doing this, it was Sasha. Sasha now leaps off the middle turnbuckle with a diving crossbody into the pin for a 2 count kick out on to Shayna. Sasha now rolls Shayna up into the schoolboy pin for a 1 count kick out. Sasha now rolls Shayna up in the crucifix pin for a 1 count kick out. Sasha now rolls Shayna up in the backslide pin for a 1 count kick out. Shayna now shoves Sasha against the ropes, and Sasha makes the legal tag to Bianca, as Bianca was holding the tag rope. Shayna holding Bianca in the Kiri Fuda clutch finishing submission hold. Bianca now pushes Shayna backwards against the corner, and Sasha legally tags herself in as she was holding the tag rope. No, technically she wasn't holding the tag rope, but she was touching the tag rope, so I will give that a pass. Bianca now drops Shayna down with a variation of the Glam Slam across the ring canvas. Sasha now leaps off the top turnbuckle with a frog splash onto Shayna into the pin for a 2 count kick out. Sasha now makes a legal tag to Bianca as Bianca was holding the tag rope. Bianca now drops Shayna with the KOD, which is known as the Burning Hammer, finishing maneuver into the pin on Shayna for a 2 count save from Nia Jax. Nia now drags Bianca underneath the bottom rope to the outside floor. Shayna now gets up and makes the illegal tag to Nia Jax, as Nia was not holding the tag rope. And there it is. If it wasn't confirmed earlier on, with the unknown legal tag being made because of the camera angle not being in the correct frame for me to gauge if it was legal or not, this has absolutely confirmed it now. This was not a legal tag, which means this match is basically done with at this point, because nobody can now win this match. Well, except if they go the disqualification route, of course. Anyway, now Nia slams Bianca down with a one-armed spine buster into the illegal pin for a 2 count save from Sasha. Sasha now legally tags herself in as she was holding yes, I was getting confused there, but no, Sasha now legally tags herself in as she was holding the tag rope, even though that now means absolutely nothing, because nobody can win this match outside of a disqualification being made. Thank you, Nia Jax, for fucking ruining this. Nia now drops Bianca down with a Samoan drop across the ring canvas. Sasha now leaps off the top turnbuckle with a diving meteora onto Nia Jax into the illegal pin for a 2 count kick out. All of a sudden, Reginald Sommelier now appears at ringside with a bottle of champagne. Sasha now drops Nia down with the bank statement, finishing submission hold onto Nia, and Nia reaches the ropes to break the hold. Reginald now hands Sasha the bottle of champagne, and the referee now grabs it. And now, as the final moment of this match, Nia now slams Sasha down with the Samoan drop into the illegal pin for the 3 count and the illegal win. Which now means that Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler illegally retain the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. I am going to give this a match rating of 2 out of 10. We then move on to a segment in which we are now being shown a commercial for WWEshop.com. We now get another commercial in which we now get shown MVP speaking with The Miz, who is Mr. Money in the Bank, don't you fucking forget that. Even though he's technically not, because he is now illegally the Money in the Bank holder, but I'll get into that later. Yeah, so MVP is now speaking to The Miz in the backstage corridor. Oh, I wonder what this is going to lead to. Oh, somebody save me now. Jesus Christ. And then we move on to the next match, which is match number 5. I would say that this is the main event, but knowing what I know, this technically isn't the main event because we still have at least one more match to go. So, being the next match being match number 5, this is the WWE Championship match being contested inside of the second and final Elimination Chamber match on the Elimination Chamber PPV, in which the 6 participants were Kofi Kingston, Sheamus, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and of course Drew McIntyre. The ring announcer for this match was Greg Hamilton, and the commentary announcers were The commentary announcers were Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton, and Samoa Joe. We now get shown the pre-match video package highlighting the build-up of this match. Congratulations! They finally figured out the order of how it should go. Then I say that, but then what happens now fucking completely goes against what I have just said. Because the order now gets fucked up entirely. Because Drew McIntyre, the WWE Champion, makes his entrance down first into the chamber pod. Then we have AJ Styles, who is accompanied by Omos, makes his entrance down into the chamber pod. Now what interests me here is that the referee ejected the 2 camera men who were at ringside for Sami Zayn, but nobody ejects Omos, who is at ringside for AJ Styles. What is up with that? We now get Kofi Kingston, who makes his entrance down into the chamber pod third. We then get Sheamus, who makes his entrance down into the chamber pod fourth. We then get Jeff Hardy, who makes his entrance down into the chamber ring fifth. And then lastly, we get Randy Orton, who makes his entrance down into the chamber ring at number 6. As for the actual match itself, well, it goes as the following. Jeff Hardy strikes a baseball dropkick onto Randy Orton, who is laid out against the side of the chamber pod and the chamber wall. He is right in the middle of both of them. Randy now holds Jeff Hardy down with a side headlock across the ring canvas. Jeff now leaps off the middle turnbuckle with a diving body splash onto Randy Orton into the pin for a 2 count kickout. Drew McIntyre, the WWE Champion, is the first one released from the pod. Now I'm going to say this now before I carry on with what happened in this match. Drew McIntyre should have been the last one entered into this match, because the champion who is defending the championship in the Elimination Chamber should be the first 2 competing in the chamber itself, because he is the one defending the championship. So it's only right, and it's only fair, and it's only correct, and it's only logical that he should be one of the first 2 in the ring when the bell rings for the match to begin. But no, he was in the fucking chamber pod. He was in the fucking chamber pod, waiting to be released to enter this fucking match. Bullshit. Anyway, we now carry on with the match itself. Drew now slams Jeff down with 2 consecutive belly to back suplexes. Drew now slams Jeff down with 2 consecutive belly to back suplexes across the ring canvas. Drew now slams Randy down with a leaping neckbreaker across the ring canvas. Drew now does a kip up. Drew now slams Jeff down with a suplex across the chamber padding. Drew then lifts Jeff up and drops Jeff down with snake eyes against the chamber pod. Drew gets frustrated and yells at the cameraman who was in the way, "I told you to move!" Now my question is, why the fuck are they having a cameraman inside of the Elimination Chamber to begin with? Don't they have these cameras on the side of the chamber wall? Aren't they like hooked on against the chamber bar that is surrounding the structure of the chamber? Why don't they use that camera? Anyway, Randy now drops Drew down with a draping DDT signature maneuver into the pin for a 1 count kick out. Randy now drops down with a bending backbreaker into the pin for a 2 count kick out. Randy now drops Drew down with the draping DDT off the middle rope across the chamber padding. Kofi Kingston is now the second one released from the chamber pod. Are we going to get a second round of Kofi Mania, as it was called 2 years ago, again here in this match? We'll find out as this match goes along. Now, Kofi rolls Randy up in a variation of the schoolboy pin for the 3 count and the elimination. Unbelievable! Oh. 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 Now that was a choking hazard. Jesus. Oh. Anyway, Randy now gets oh. Randy now gets frustrated from his elimination and then drops both Kofi and Jeff down individually with the RKO finishing maneuver across the ring canvas. Omos now opens up AJ's chamber pod from the outside by pulling the chamber shielding of the pod, and then oh Jesus, hang on. Oh. Oh. Omos now opens up AJ's this cough needs to oh, get off now. Omos Jesus Christ, I can feel it like tickling my throat. Oh. Omos now opens up AJ's chamber pod from the outside by pulling out the chamber shielding of that pod. AJ now charges out of the chamber pod around the outside of the chamber structure, and then sneaks his way past the frustrated Randy Orton and gets into the ring. AJ now immediately covers the pin on Kofi for a 2 count kick out, and then AJ now covers the pin on Jeff for another 2 count kick out. Adam Pearce now ejects Omos from ringside for the stunt that he had just pulled off. Is that what they were afraid that Sami Zayn's cameramen were going to do earlier? Hey, is that why they ejected them from the ringside area from the SmackDown chamber earlier on? Because they were afraid that they were going to do exactly what Omos just did here? Who knows? I don't. I can't wait to see Sami Zayn's documentary about all of this. Wait, hold on. Yes. Kofi now leaps off the middle rope and drops AJ down with a springboard DDT across the chamber padding. Now, something I found very strange about this was that AJ was just standing there waiting for Kofi to start to hit his move, because when the camera wasn't on him, AJ stopped selling, and AJ was just standing there waiting to hit his cue for what he's supposed to do, until the camera actually is on him. Hello. Immersion. The fourth wall is being broken here. Just a little bit. Hello. Come on now. Drew now shoves Jeff forward off the top turnbuckle against the chamber pod. Kofi now drops Drew down with the SOS signature maneuver into the pin for a 2 count kickout. Kofi now slams AJ down with a monkey flip against the chamber wall. That was quite innovative there. I don't think I've ever seen them do that before, against the chamber wall, so that was quite nice to see done. Drew now drops Kofi down with a gourd buster across the chamber padding. Drew now drops Jeff down with a neck breaker into the pin for a 2 count kickout. Drew now clotheslines himself and Sheamus. What? Sheamus? What? When did he get into this match? Somehow I managed to skip the part where Sheamus was released from his pod to enter this match. Alright then, I'm just going to go along with it and continue on from where I left off. So yeah, Drew now clotheslines himself and Sheamus over the top rope, down across the chamber padding, outside of the confines of the ring itself. Kofi now leaps off the top turnbuckle with a diving double clothesline onto both Drew and Sheamus across the chamber padding. Drew now drops Sheamus off the top turnbuckle with the superplex, whilst at the same time both AJ and Jeff drop Drew with a powerbomb, and they all land straight across the ring canvas. AJ covers the pin on Sheamus and Jeff covers the pin on Drew simultaneously at the same time for the double pin, and both Drew and Sheamus simultaneously at the same time kick out at 2. Kofi now leaps off the top of the chamber pod with the trust fall onto everyone across the ring canvas. Kofi covers the pin on Sheamus for a 2 count kickout. Kofi covers the pin on Jeff for a 2 count kickout, but when he covers the pin on Drew, Drew kicks out at the count of 1. Sheamus now drops Kofi down with the bro kick finishing maneuver into the pin for the 3 count and the elimination. And then Jeff now drops Sheamus down with the twist of fate, or the twist of hate, as it was called in TNA, because this variation of the move that Jeff did to Sheamus, instead of going straight down across the ring canvas, Jeff basically twisted him into the stunner. A nice stuttered into saying that there. With the twist of stunner across the ring canvas. Jeff now drops Drew down with the twist of fate. Signature maneuver in to the pin for a 2 count kick out. Jeff now drops AJ down with the twist of fate, signature maneuver across the ring canvas. Jeff now climbs up. Yes. Jeff now climbs up and leaps off the top of the chamber pod with the whisper in the ring down onto both Sheamus and Drew across the chamber padding. Jeff now leaps off the top turnbuckle with a swanton bomb finishing maneuver onto AJ across the ring canvas. And then Drew, all of a sudden, strikes Jeff down with the Claymore kick, finishing maneuver in to the pin for the 3 count and the elimination. Sheamus now strikes Drew down with a vicious knee to the head in to the pin for a near fall kick out. Sheamus now drops Drew down with the white noise signature maneuver across the ring canvas. AJ now leaps off the top rope with a flipping Swanton bomb, which basically looked like the Swanton bomb to me, onto Drew in to the pin for a 2 count kick out. AJ now leaps off the top rope again, but this time with a 450 splash onto Drew in to the pin, and Drew yet again kicks out at the count of 2. Sheamus now strikes AJ down with the clubbing forearm strikes to his chest against the ropes, which I think he calls the beat of the Belgian or something like that. Sheamus now tosses AJ back in the ring and leaps off the top turnbuckle with a diving clothesline onto AJ across the ring canvas. Drew now drops Sheamus down with the Future Shock DDT finishing maneuver across the ring canvas. Sheamus now drops in my notes here. It says Sheamus drops Sheamus down with the blow kick. No, in actuality, Sheamus drops Drew down with the bro kick finishing maneuver across the ring canvas, and then out of nowhere AJ now leaps off the top rope and then out of nowhere AJ now leaps off the top rope and connects the phenomenal forearm finishing maneuver onto Sheamus into the pin for the 3 count and the elimination. So final 2 is AJ and Drew. So to close out this match, AJ Styles leaps off the top rope and Drew McIntyre catches him mid-air with the Claymore kick finishing maneuver into the pin for the 3 count and the win, which now means Drew McIntyre retains and is still the WWE champion. Now before I carry on here to what happens to close out this pay-per-view, I'm now going to give my match rating for this WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match, which is a 6 out of 10. We then move on, ladies and gentlemen, to the closing segment, being Bobby Lashley, who had previously lost the United States Championship earlier on in the triple threat match to Matt Riddle. He now appears here, who makes his entrance to the ring and brutally attacks down Drew McIntyre, who is the WWE Champion. Okay, he basically murders Drew here, then stands there expecting someone else to come down, in which we then have The Miz, who is the Money in the Bank holder, who makes his entrance down into the ring. The Miz then cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase, and we have an impromptu match for the WWE Championship. Now, this brings forward clarification for why MVP was seen speaking to The Miz backstage in the corridor earlier on before the chamber match even happened. This is what this was leading to. Now, The Miz cashes in. The ring announcer is Greg Hamilton. The commentators are Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton and Samoa Joe. The Miz drops Drew down with a DDT into the pin, and fucking Drew kicks out at the count of 2. After all the fucking damage that Drew went through in the chamber and then the aftermatch attack from Bobby Lashley, he still somehow had enough in him to kick out here from this DDT at the count of 2, which realistically should have been the end right there. Basically, The Miz shouldn't have even hit a single move, as he should have came in. The Jew should have stayed down, selling the attack for Bobby. The Miz just covers Jew, 1, 2, 3, that's it. But no, Jew kicks out here of the DDT. But then The Miz slams down his skull-crushing finale finisher for the to the pin for the 3 count. And the win and the finale of this match and the finale of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, in which The Miz wins and becomes the new WWE Champion. My match rating here is a 0 out of 10. My overall pay-per-view rating is a 24 out of 100. Which equates to 2.4 out of 10, which also equates to 1 star. So basically, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view from the year 2021 equals 2 out of 10. I have been Joshua James Jenkins, otherwise known as Triple J. This has been the extra episode of the Rasslin and Logic podcast. And we are now heading into WrestleMania. with me questioning if we are even on the road to WrestleMania itself. Because it just seems to me that WrestleMania isn't even happening at all. Anyway, I will close out by saying where's the logic? Somebody find it, and when you find it, in this case, give it to Vince McMahon because he absolutely fucking needs it. See you on the next episode, being episode 10 of the Rasslin and Logic podcast, in which myself, Railsucker and Cabernator will be reviewing AEW Revolution later on this week. So until then, as Mick Foley says, have a nice day.